Okay, let's do this. So today I'm supposed to be doing OpenVAS, but OpenVAS was kicking my butt, and so I decided to install Nessus, a trial version of that instead, and call it a day because actually they don't have trial anymore. They have a free version that you can use, so I definitely recommend that. OpenVAS I think is great that it's open source, and I think that I might install Kali Linux and just run it through that instead of having to deal with compiling and configuring or getting the exact right versions and whatnot. So today we are going to just do we're going to do something slightly different since we're waiting on here. Let me just show you. We're waiting on Nessus to finish compiling its plugins. It's taking forever. You need plenty of space, plenty of download time. So if you are going to be doing this, well, you will be doing this, right? You're going to need to make sure that you just allocate plenty of time, because I think this has been running for over an hour. OpenVAS was the same way. So I got the basics in OpenVAS to work, but the web tool just was not compiling properly. And so anyway, I'll leave that for another episode, like I said last time. So anyway, instead of doing all that right now, I'm just gonna do some programming, some very basic programming to show some of the Google Cloud capabilities. Not Google Cloud, but I guess it's like a Google AI API, if you will, just to do some speech to text, because I was playing with this to try and see if I could clean up the audio in my first video. My first video had horrendous audio, so I was thinking, okay, well, how about I download the audio and convert it into text, and then basically have a computer voice read the text. See if it was possible, see how reasonable it was. It was possible, but it sucked really bad. The timing was off and everything, and I'm going to go through some of these details with you guys today. I don't think I'm going to do it all, but we'll see where we get to, because I'm going to try and just recreate what I did instead of just play what I did. Okay, so speech to text. The first thing is obviously log into your console. You will find that looking for one thing before I go there is some corrections on my last video. I talked about VM instances. I talked about how Google only allows you to do a certain small batch. Well, I was completely wrong in that, and when I was creating instances, I actually found out that we could create any sort of instance that you've created a custom image on if you really wanted to, or there's other marketplaces for images as well, so kind of like AWS. So hopefully nobody calls me out too badly on that one. So if you go to checking your image, see how it has custom images here. We can actually create an image from existing VMs that we have, or we can download or create our own images offline and whatnot. So here, let me just here's the marketplace. So if we wanted to, we could do these tons of different images out here. So I think that I talked about how supposedly Cisco didn't have anything, but it clearly does. So that was definitely my fault there. So anyway, that was just a small correction that I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. I'll put it in the notes on the previous video as well. Okay, back to the speech to text to speech stuff. All right, so looking for it again, I couldn't find it in these. I thought it was natural language API, but apparently natural language is more than just speech to text. Tried translation, it's just not there from what I could find. So the easiest way is to, of course, just search for it, and I just did speech to text API, and here you go. So you can see all the various APIs, pretty much because it's hard to, there's so many options, so many possibilities API wise, that it's almost best to just, if you have a particular problem, just search for it and see if they have an API for it, because there's just so much stuff. So if you do that and you pull up, so we're going to do speech to text first. When you first go to this, if you haven't used it before, it'll ask you to enable it. So right now mine shows as manage, but it's just an enable button. You hit the enable button and you move on your way. And they kind of do that so that you can limit on accidental use of the API calls, and you don't charge up your things, I guess. As you can see, this is super cheap. So when I did my video, it was like the 50-minute video or something like that. I think that it ran for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. And so what is that? 0.02 a minute times 20. So, that's like 8 cents or something like that. So nothing extraordinary until you really start doing a lot of processing. All right, so once it's enabled, the best, you can go to the documentation, and I think that if you really are thorough, I guess it probably works. For some reason, I'm horrible at reading documentation, so sometimes I kind of just scroll through, and when you do it that way, you miss little things. So if you really want to do this fully, go through the documentation, of course, on your own and see if you can kind of plug through. But the quick and dirty is that, obviously our project is already set up. We wouldn't even have gotten to this without having our project set up, I don't believe, right? So, but whatever. Set up your project, create the service accounts and everything that are associated with it. Things like download the private keys. That I don't know if I've done that yet in here, so we might get into that, but actually let's just go ahead and check. So after you create your project, which again, I'm not going to go show how to create a new project, but actually I guess we could. Let's just, whatever, I guess I can do that too. I might not have okay, here we go. So I have a special account that I created just for this virus killer, which is our fake network, of course, that I created. So I wasn't sure if my user has the ability to create a new project, but yeah, it looks like it might be able to. But yeah, you would literally just hit create, and then you would assign it some basic information and things that you want it to basically be performing, and then you'll get this dashboard, and you can kind of assign all of your services and stuff that you want. Kind of like I said in one of the earlier videos, if you separate projects, you can separate pretty much all of the functionality. So whether that's VMs, whether that's API calls, everything, and the billing is associated to each project. And so even though it rolls up, you can see them all separately. So I definitely like the project methodology better than AWS and Azure's so far. So let's see. So after you create your project, you can basically, let's see if we can go to our IAM users. So after you create your project, you kind of have to make sure that you have an account that can make those API calls on your behalf. And so when you create that account, you'll basically have, it looks like I already created all of this stuff. So you'll basically download either a JSON file, or basically it's like a certificate file that you can use to perform your calls to authenticate, right? Let me see if I actually downloaded that already. Put everything in here. Nope, I did not. Okay, so let's see if there's... I don't know which one I used. Let's try this guy. Okay, I don't know what the best way to look at that is. Service accounts, how about that? Okay, here we go. Okay, so you go to your service account and then you would basically create your key. Because I already created one, I should actually already have it downloaded, but I wonder if it's anything like AWS, you create it once and they're never going to give it to you again. And so if you lose it, you're kind of screwed and you have to regenerate a new one. And it looks like that might be the case here, where I can't generate the JSON file again. So I'm just going to do create new key JSON, and it's going to download here. So private key is saved. So yeah, it looks like it works like that, where you'd have to download it, make sure you save it, and then you can't access it again. So kind of a secure thing, I guess. All right, let's do downloads. Okay, so this key file is what we're going to end up calling in our API calls, and here we go. It's this is it right here. So we would create basically a environment variable called this that points to your JSON file or certificate or whatever you want to call it. Okay. All right. So assign the variable. Now this install and initialize Cloud SDK portion. I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what Cloud SDK gives you above and beyond what you can do with just Python and installing the Python Google Cloud packages. So I probably should do a little more research there, but I'm gonna skip this and I'm gonna install the Google Cloud Python stuff instead. So I'm gonna say pip3 install Google Cloud. And if you aren't familiar with Python or pip, okay, so and then I'm gonna do Cloud Speech. So if you aren't familiar with pip, it's just a package manager for Python. Makes everything a lot simpler. Some people would recommend that we do virtual environments so that, you know, when you're playing around and you're installing all of these different things, it doesn't have to be permanent and you don't have to get mixed up packages and whatnot. I am not going to go through that right now, but at some point, if things get a little too crazy, I might start doing that, but we'll see. Okay, so we have that installed. Now let's go to our editor here. So once we've done all of that, so I mean, like this talks about installing the SDK, but I guess maybe that's for this, like this gcloud command and stuff like that. I think that's what that SDK really is giving you. There's Google specific commands and whatnot that you can run, and if you're not going to be doing full Python or something like that, I guess that's where it would come into play. But doesn't really have our Python, so let's see if we can do a search, because this was something that I kind of figured out, but Google speech to text, but I swear I couldn't ever find a single source for everything in the Google Docs. It didn't seem like a lot of the Google Docs are very good, but if you notice, let's see, for example, using the library, let's see if this works. Okay. Import speech, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so that's one way to do it. Let's see if there's API reference docs. Transcribed videos. Real-time transcription. Let's see if we get transcribed videos or something. Okay, local file request. And then, yeah. I don't know why that. So the basic gist is this is how simple it is to do a transcribe using their API, right? So you literally would create a method or a function, pass it a file, tell it what quote model you want to use, and I want to say that model is like what is it, like video or audio only or stream and stuff like that, I think. But let me see, why wouldn't they tell you what that is? Okay, machine learning model. Okay, yeah, model type, video, phone, ASR. Not sure why that model field even matters that much, but whatever. Where were we at? I can't find where we were at. Okay, let's just go back. All right, so that's not what I wanted. I don't know why. Okay, I guess I was there already, my bad. Okay, so when you pass it the file, you pass it whatever quote model that you want. You're gonna import the libraries, and then you're gonna create a speech client object, which these are obviously Google specific. They're doing all the heavy lifting, so you're really not doing much of anything except passing it a file and telling it where the file is going to be, and basically giving the API call the variables to basically to return your content, and then you give it some configuration information about what the file type is, what type of audio you're dealing with, and literally you make a call to give a response, and that's it. And then you parse the response in whatever way you want, is the gist. So it's very, very basic as far as what it takes to do a transcribe. It looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. So here, let's see if I can pull up some of the code that I got from Google on other places. Why I don't know why there's not a single spot for all of it, as far as, in one page that kind of goes through all of the different possibilities, but for whatever reason, yeah, like none of these. How about real-time transcription? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of ways you can do it, but I'm just going to, we'll start with the file method. Let's see if I can go back. I mean, I guess we can just show that copying and pasting their code can work. It's just there's a lot of particulars that they don't really get into, right? Like, they don't talk about, or do they? Do they talk about limits? Yeah, like it's not very clear, but they say, oh, all you got to do is this. But then when you run this, you'll see in a second that if it's over 60 seconds, if it's over 10 megabytes, it has to be uploaded to a Google Cloud source. And it's not like you can't use any URL. It has to be Google Cloud storage, and just little things like that that are kind of annoying, but not difficult to overcome. But here, I'm just going to paste in literally what they're telling us to do, right? So we're going to define this transcribe model, and then I guess what we can do is here, let me see if I can so that let's do some argument parsing since that way we can make the call instead of you know, hard coding the data. We can make it call and just call the Python script directly. So we'll do parser. Let's add argument and say path help equals path to file. Add argument model auto type like video, etc. Don't know what model really means. Actually, let's change that model thing now because that model thing doesn't make much sense to me. Where's that daggone model field? Oh, are you kidding me? Where the heck was it? That's annoying. Models. Model. This uses audio and video clips. I don't know why this matters. I seriously don't. Oh, I guess they're each. Okay, so I see. So the models are trained to particular types of sources, and I guess supposedly video audio is going to act a little bit differently than, say, a phone call audio, I guess. Whatever. So I'm going to just default this thing to video and call it a day. So we'll do model equals video. That way we don't have to worry about filling that freaking thing out. And then let's args, parks, args. And I already know that I'm going to do something with this, but let's just do args equals parse args. We'll say transcribe model selection args.path args.model. Okay, that should work. Transcribe model selection. All right, cool. All right, so now if we just do Python 3 speech to text, and then we'll select our file. So the file that I was going to use is a Martin Luther King deal. Figured I'd use his I Have a Dream speech. That seems like it is always something that we can use, right? Where is it at though? Parse is not defined. Oops. Import arg parse. How about that? Okay. Downloads. .mp3. Okay, there we go. All right, so we'll do this and then this. That should be it. Following arguments are required. Can I add a default to the parser? I can. All right, let's do default equals video. I guess I could have done that there instead of up here. All right, whatever.
Is here. Let's copy it exactly the way that these guys did it, because I don't know if that matters or not. So I got this from Google somewhere, from Google Cloud's documentation somewhere, but let's just see what that does. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that worked. I guess this extra comma, like, strange. Or maybe I had to put the choices in there. I don't know. No, I don't think so. All right, let's see. Google application predict. Oh, oops. So I did this up here. So I only used it in that context as far as the environment variable. I could make it permanent. Okay. Maybe I'm going crazy. Oh, oops, I didn't put the equal sign. All right, there we go. So that's all we did. Let's see what we got. Specify MP3 encoding to match. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. So apparently there is a encoding type. So encoding right here, I'm assuming there's a way to do MP3. Now, I don't believe that we had to do this before, but let's just Google speech to text. Socks converted. They're trying to convert it to FLAC. Okay, I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. Let's see what they did for encoding. Encoding unspecified. Let's try the unspecified deal. There we go. Let's see if that works. All right, another error. So there we go. For the audio longer than 1 minute, you have to use long running recognize and do a URI instead of a file. So let's just do, oh, do I not have, oh yeah, I do. We're gonna open this up and we're gonna just make it under a minute instead. That way I don't have to screw with this for now, just to kind of show what we can do here. So let's just go to a random spot.
The Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty, in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity.
All right. I wonder if it'll actually work, because Martin Luther King, he talks very slow and deliberate, so I'll be curious if it actually works. I didn't actually try this. All right, export as clip. Okay, let's see if that works. And we'll call clip. Let's see what happens. Oh, now it's a bad encoding. Okay, so let's yeah, I want to say that I think it just needs a specific type of MP3, I guess, but let's just do export audio as FLAC, like these guys were doing, 16-bit. Call it a day. Okay. All right, so we'll do. Where did I download that to? Downloads. .flag. Okay. Let's see what happens there. Search rate 1600, either means specified or match. Okay. See, like, what's the point of even putting this if it can tell you that? Like, I don't understand. Sync too long, audio longer than 1 minute. What? Is this longer than a minute? That is definitely not longer than a minute. What? That's really weird. Let's just open this up and see what happens. Recorded a bunch of silence first. All right. Let's try this again. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. So we get our transcribed information. So the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a base ocean of material prosperity. Is that what he said? Let's look that up real quick. I have a dream transcript. Let's see. Vast ocean lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. In the midst of a vast, not bass ocean. Gotcha. That makes sense. So yeah, so as you can see, it works, but there's obviously going to be some errors here and there. Now, what I actually did with my actual video was after I downloaded the entire transcript, I had to convert it to subtitles and or what's called SSML, which is like speech markup language or something like that, and that way you can re-upload your speech into its format so that it can say it for you. So if you ever download the speech, if you do it right, you can basically recreate this in SSML, and that's pretty easy to do. So we're going to do that really quick, and then we'll just basically run it back and do text to speech, and we'll do the actually let's use a different, where's the I have a dream. Let's do one of those parts. How far? That's like in the middle. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find that. Too bad. Oh, whatever. Okay, so to do the let's go to the text to speech first. So we did our speech to text. Now we're gonna do text to speech. Here, let's just do text to speech API. Oh, I already had it up. Same thing, enable it, and you can run it. If you look at that. So let's see if we can just go straight to some examples here. See, that's one of the things, like if you just read this, if you're not familiar, it's like, this is not going to mean much of anything. It's like, okay, I can do all this random stuff, I guess. To me, it's not that straightforward to somebody who isn't used to kind of playing with this stuff. But here we go. So, well, you don't even know why we're talking about SSML yet. But where's the API reference? Let's use that here. So let's do, whatever. Oh, that's where I just was. E1 text, client libraries, all that. Yeah, like I don't even, okay, there we go. I just saw something. Okay, so client library, I guess, is what we're talking about here. And then here we go. All right, so to do the text to speech is very similar to the other process, except instead of passing a file to decode, it's going to be passing a file to turn into speech, of course. Similar deal. Instead of the speech to text client, this is the text to speech client. So as you can see, it's very similar, nothing crazy. The biggest thing is you're going to basically be able to configure the speech. You're going to configure how the type of voice it is, whether it's male or female, whether it's slow or fast, whether it's in English or it's British English or Australian English and all this other stuff, right? So you can change that, and then you tell it what you want it to encode it as, of course, and that's it. And then you make the call. So super straightforward. Again, the where is it at? Right here. So what isn't super obvious is if you have just lines of text, you can just crap it in a text field and you can just make it go. But when it comes to, if you want to be more specific about pausing and let's say you want to emphasize certain words and stuff like that, that's where this SAML or SSML speech synthesis markup language comes into play. You can basically use this XML to give features of your talk. So for example, let's say you have breaks and stuff like that where you want to pause for a second and then say the next words and stuff like that. So if you do that right, you can assign these little codes. And so what I did is when I did my video, I pause a lot. I'm a slow speaker as well, and so when I did it straight with just straight text, it came out like half the time or like a quarter of the time, and it was super fast. So I needed to at least put in some breaks, and then I had to slow the overall cadence of the voice with a different, what they call, what is it called? Prosody. I don't know if that has an actual word or what, but that's basically what I had to do. So I wasn't gonna go through all of that in this, but what we can do is let's just use this same concept we'll use the same concept to basically encode the speech that we just interpreted. So let's see here. So let's just create a new transcribe text to speech. And I probably could have used a better example, but whatever. Oh, before I do that, let me just make sure that install Google Cloud text to speech. All right, that's good to go. All right, so because this is all we're gonna do, we're just gonna pass it text, right? We're gonna pass it our text or whatever. Yeah, whatever. And we'll say our text. Come on. So, oops. What did I just do? Our text. All right, so we're literally gonna, instead of just printing, we're going to return a text field, and then we're going to pass it to transcribe. So we'll basically create an MP3 or something as well. Let me see if what was the format of this stuff. So as you can see, when it's printing what they call alternatives. So if you are doing more complicated stuff and you configure it in a different way, you can have it provide multiple alternatives. So like where we had Bass Ocean versus Vast Ocean, it's possible that if we ran multiple alternatives, it would have had a second alternative that's had Vast Ocean, for example. So there are other things you can do there. Now, as far as what we actually want, we just want this transcript. So literally all we're going to be looking for is this alternative transcript. So what I can do is, let's just say speech text equals, we'll create an array, and then we'll just say speech text dot append, and then after it's done, we'll return the speech text. There we go. All right, so whatever calls this, we'll have to now take speech text, and then we're gonna pass it to our next dealie. So speech text, and that'll be that. And so what that's actually going to do is it's going to end up creating an output.mp3 file. Now we can go into other stuff and rename it and do this. So this is speech text. What I'll do instead of, I'll say let's do 4x in speech text. Actually, there's probably, what's the best way to, I feel like I can just append a list with spaces or something, or with periods or something. Let's see. Let's do Python list to string append space or something like that. There we go. Oh yeah, duh. I knew that. All right, so we'll do, I don't even have to do that. I'm just gonna do speech text space. Actually, we'll do period space dot join. I think that's all we have to do, right? Join. Yep, there we go. All right. So that's going to basically give us one thing to submit into this synthesis output, synthesis input, and then we should be good to go. All right, so let's run that and see what happens. So we should still get our printout. And that didn't work. Go figure. That was another thing is the Google API calls. They don't by default spit out errors. So as you can see, like something should have errored out because I have a print statement here and nothing triggered. So somehow, some way, something failed. And I have no idea where. So let's just do let's do a print statement just to see if it actually passed this. Print converting text to speech. All right, let's see what happens there. At the very least, we should see that. Okay, cool. It did try that. Oh, it worked that time. Whatever. I don't know why. All right, so now we have our output. So literally, we just converted an audio and then we reconverted it. We took speech to text. So we took Martin Luther King's speech, we turned it to text, and then we took the text and then we turned it back into speech. So let's see what that new speech sounds like. Where is it at? Documents. Let's see what this craziness sounds like. I don't even know what's going on right now. It's like it's freaking out. Let me reload just in case my audio is acting crazy. I have no idea why it's not playing.
The lonely island of poverty, in the midst of a base ocean of material prosperity.
All right, so yeah, I don't know why it was freezing like that, but let's increase the volume a little bit.
On a lonely island of poverty, in the midst of a base ocean of material prosperity.
Yeah.
Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty, in the midst of a base ocean of material prosperity.
Not bad, right? So if we wanted to, we could change that to a female voice, for example. So we could say gender neutral, and we can say female, and then we can run it again. And then we can speed it up, we can do it, slow it down, a whole bunch of different things. I don't know why it's doing that. I feel like it's probably like some sort of audio error since I got so much stuff going on. It is a VM, of course, so. I don't know why it's acting funny. I really should, maybe I need to, I don't know if I don't have enough memory or what, but it's definitely acting strange. That sucks because it has nothing to do with. Well, that's annoying. I don't know why my Daily Bob is acting so funny. Yeah, maybe I got a memory issue. All right. Yeah, why is this acting so funny? Oh my goodness. I can't win for losing. All right, so I'm not gonna keep screwing with this. I don't know why my Audacity is acting funny in there, but as you can see, it worked. There are ways to change the gender and whatnot. You can slow it down, speed it up, a whole bunch of options. That is it for today. Hopefully you got a little something out of it. Let's see where our, still compiling plugins. So literally it's been hours now for this to be compiling plugins. So for next time, I'm pretty sure now we will definitely at least do nessus scanning at the very least, so that we can actually continue on our little securing our network journey with RMF and CMMC, whatever else you guys are doing to get what you need to do. All right, so with that, thank you for your time, and I will see you next time.